Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Pop culture edition.
Woo,
Oh
woo,
yeah, do you want
woo,
to do a little screech, a little song?
woo, woo, woo.
All right, are you ready to jump in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna start with some small updates per usual. Thankfully, a couple of these are Vanderpump Rules.
Yay.
So first, Raquel has officially signed her season 11 contract for Vanderpump Rules after rumors that she was holding out for a bonus based on the press Scandival brought the show. Which, like, if Raquel couldn't get any worse,
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "Are you not gonna pay me
Yeah.
for fucking my friend's boyfriend?"
Yeah. I feel like that's got to be her dad. That's like, you can
Oh
get
yeah,
more money out of this.
like yeah, you brought them press. Then Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend Sarah Brady posted screenshots of texts from their relationship in which he outlines several controlling boundaries, and he is like very particular about using the word boundaries
Okay.
and trying to like make it clear that like this is like a respect thing, and like if she respected him in their relationship she would be willing to like align with his boundaries. But basically, most specifically, what he was asking her to do or telling her to do were to take down some of her Instagram posts because she was pictured in a bathing suit. Sarah Brady is a professional surfer.
Hmm.
So the photos he was asking her to take down were of her surfing
Mm-hmm.
and doing her job. And he was like, those are not appropriate. He also, it seems, gave her like a list of people that she could not be friends with anymore
Okay.
because they were like not aligning with what he felt she should be doing as his girlfriend. He also, after she posted these screenshots, came back and sent her some messages that she also posted screenshots of, where he was basically like, I'm sorry if you are like having a hard time with our breakup, but like you can't just like slander me online. Um, she also notes that they went to couples therapy during their relationship, and that um, the therapist is who taught him about boundaries, but he's like clearly not using it correctly. And then
Mm-hmm.
she also posts some screenshots in which she insinuates that the therapist was like more on his side than hers,
Mm.
and like so she just kind of felt like trapped.
Mm-hmm.
um
When
but
did Jonah Hill become this, like, honorable, noble man that, like, needs her to have appropriate friends?
yeah.
Um,
Well, and the thing is, so one of the things that she pointed out was she also posted screenshots from their DMs that like connected them and got them into a relationship basically. And in them, he is responding specifically to the posts of her pictures of her surfing and talking about like how great a surfer she looks, how great she looks in her bathing suit, like all of these things specifically about these photos that he has since asked her to delete.
yeah.
Um, and so she points out like that it clearly has something to do with them being in a relationship that changed what he viewed as appropriate. And like basically he was saying like, I'm the one who should be able to see
Right.
this now.
Right.
We are 1 week away from Barbenheimer. um I'm kind of done with entertaining the idea that I will be seeing Oppenheimer.
No, I never did entertain that.
Yeah. um but for those of you who want to see it,
Go for
one
it.
week away, 1 week away from Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll come back to Barbie later in the episode.
Nice.
Then back to Vanderpump Rules news. Ariana signed on to guest star in the upcoming season of Love Island. If you remember the like kind of big fight her and Tom had before the Scandival episodes one of the things he said was like that all she wants to do is sit around and watch Love Island with her friends and not hang out with him and do shrooms with him and go skinny dipping with him, and worked out for her because now she gets to be on Love Island, but not as a contestant.
Yeah. I think, like, that's been one of the funnest parts, is that, like, she's not, some of them are, but, like, for the most part, she's not just getting, like, random opportunities. She's getting, like, batteries, toilet paper, trash bags, like, all shit that people are like, we watched the show, and, like, here.
Like, they have the opportunity to do, like, the funniest thing possible, and they're doing it, and I love it. I also saw where paparazzi stopped him and asked him how he thought she would do in Dancing with the Stars, and he said that he doesn't want to jinx her, but that there's a 9 out of 10 chance that she'll be the winner, and the only reason he's not saying 10 out of 10 is because he doesn't want to jinx her, because he cares so deeply for her.
That was the interview with Billie Lee.
He was by himself.
Oh, there was an interview or a paparazzi moment with Billie Lee, but I couldn't watch it with sound today at work, and they didn't have captions. But it looked.
It was
chaos.
He was by himself in this part, but apparently it's longer than the part that I saw, so maybe she's in it somewhere. But apparently there's also a part where he sings to the paparazzi. And people are like, once again, Tom has called the paparazzi on himself.
Yeah, well, the one
shining star moment.
The caption of the one with Billie Lee said something about, like, this TMZ reporter called Tom a musician. Like, they said, like, as a musician. And they were like, no.
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't know about that. Last little thing I have is that Vanderpump Rules was nominated for an Emmy.
I did see, kind of back to Raquel wanting more money, I did see someone say, like, if they win the Emmy, like, who accepts it? Trying to basically say, like, is it Tom and Raquel who made this season Emmy-worthy? So, like, should it be, like, them? Is it Ariana that made the season Emmy-worthy? Is it still, like, everyone and the show is just Emmy-worthy? But
I think as far as accepting it goes, it would probably be everyone or Ariana, because it seems like Tom, anyway, based on that paparazzi interview, is, like, really trying to be like, oh my god, Ariana is the freaking best. We love her.
Yeah. And I saw a rumor that he has sold his part of Shorts and Sandy's.
Yeah.
But I also, like, feel like that is something they will keep under wraps until the show.
Yeah, I've also seen some rumors with, like, videos and pictures of people who have, like, been in the restaurant while they're filming the new season, where, like, one, Tom is separated from everyone. And, like, somebody was like, look, I don't empathize with him at all, but, like, it was sad. Like, literally the entire cast is on one side of the restaurant, and Tom is by himself, that jeweler he's friends with. I've also seen they had a something about her pool party at James's new house, and James and Tom Schwartz wrote a song called Something About Her.
Cute!
And they posted it on Instagram Live, and so people were like, okay, does that mean, again, like, that Schwartz is trying to navigate away from Sandoval? He was seen with the rest of the cast members in that part I told you about where Sandoval was by himself. Schwartz was with everyone else. And now he's, like, writing this song technically about Katie with James, so we'll see, I guess, how that plays out. But yeah, I can see, it seems like everyone is continuing to band together against them,
which is good.
It seems like Tom Sandoval is at this point at least trying to outwardly concede to letting Ariana have her spotlight and like backing the fuck off her. So yeah, let's get into the big stuff. Starting with the I Can See You music video. So last time we recorded, we got to talk about Speak Now TV, And then literally hours later, Taylor Swift went on stage and premiered the I Can See You music video. So we get to talk about it now. So at her July 7th concert, which of course was Speak Now release day, she premiered the I Can See You music video along with a new Speak Now gown and a set list change. She has now added Long Live after Enchanted.
Is that like staying?
I've heard that she did it for all of the shows that weekend at least.
Okay.
Not just the one on the 7th. I've also seen some people speculating, will she change the set list even more and add some From the Vault songs to
like
the
maybe
Speak Now section?
Like maybe that's why Speak Now was only Enchanted for a while.
Right, like because it was like one song, and so they're saying like maybe now she wants to add like From the Vault songs, or even like Better Than Revenge with the new lyric change. And I've also seen some people speculating that the gowns almost look like the skirts come off. And so they're saying, like, maybe she'll do Enchanted and Long Live in the gown, and then the skirt comes off, and she does, like, Better Than Revenge, and I Can See You, and Electric Touch or something. It's like more fast-paced from the album.
Taylor, I will be pissed. That's
all.
That
is the general sentiment.
Pissed!
Yeah, I will say though, if she does add another American leg of the tour after the other countries, I'll find us tickets, and you could see the new stuff. So along with this, she had Taylor and Tay Lautner.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him confirm on a podcast that he has allowed everyone to say his last name incorrectly his entire career. Mm-hmm. It is Lautner. Joey King and Presley Cash at the show and in the music video, which of course is a nod to the Mean music video that Joey King and Presley Cash are also in.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Lautner does a backflip on stage, and then he gets the microphone and he says, "It just felt right in the moment."
That makes sense for him.
Yeah, I feel like everyone was like so excited, but I feel like his wife is probably like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. She is such like, she's like the winner to me. Yeah. Like everyone always posts in there like, talk about a mastermind. Like this girl was a fan of Taylor Swift,
of Twilight.
Yeah. What, like, so she, like, this was meant to be her future. Good for her. Yeah. I heard how they met is someone, like, his sister was, like, was, like, friends with a group of girls, and she was in that group. And she normally doesn't let people around her brother, which is probably because, like, he's famous and, like, a heartthrob. But she was like, this girl's cool. I'll invite a bunch of people over for a game night, her included. And that's how they met.
Also, in the music video, there are several Easter eggs, obviously. And most, if not all of them, seem to point to 1989, Taylor's version coming next. Some people are trying to say they're pointing more toward Reputation. But, like, the things that they were like, oh my god, Reputation, it was, like, black nails. Which, like, I know the nails thing is, like, important to her, but, like, compared to the other things we saw, it seems more 1989 coded. So, some of those are.
And I wish we had, like, because to me, she does always hint at other albums. But, like, in the Bejeweled music video, like, it was obvious because... like, she pressed on, like, the Speak Now. So it's, like, you knew not only, like, that is an important album, but, like, that is next. So I think what we have lacked in all of these Easter eggs is, like, there have been Reputation Easter eggs. There have been 1989 Easter eggs, but, like, we don't have any, like, palpable, like, dates.
They drive toward.
Yes. Yeah.
So... it opens with us only seeing her red lips, which looks like the 1989 album cover. Like I just said, as they drive off, it's like a heist style music video, and as they drive away from the scene of the crime, they are driving toward signs that say 1 foot 9 inches 8.9 TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw people reading in also to in the lyrics of When Emma Falls in Love. She
Mm-hmm.
says, well, she's so New York when she's in LA. And people think that New York is like a reference to 1989, and
Mm-hmm.
that they think this means she will announce 1989 Taylor's version at an LA show. One of the LA shows is on 8/9.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes pretty damn good sense.
It does, but I still like to hold on to the idea that like When Emma Falls in Love was written when she was 18 years old, and then just like happened to be one of the best songs from the vault, and so she just like, yeah, let's go with this one.
Yeah, but I don't think that couldn't mean there was like a lyric adjustment. You know, like I
That's true.
think she still could have written it
Mm-hmm.
fully or mostly fully, and then was like, ooh, let me put this little Easter egg in.
Yeah.
I also saw people saying that they think 1989 will come out on 9/1, but they didn't really tell me why they think that, other than
Mm-hmm.
those are numbers that are in 1989.
Yeah. I think it's because like on the, although that's not how it's written on the sign. On the sign where it says like 1 foot 9 inches, like people are like, oh my gosh, like 1 9. That's the British way of writing September 1st, but it's not really written like a date.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah.
We also see her, Joey King, in the music video blowing on powder to see lasers, and then carrying a briefcase that pretty closely matched the Bad Blood music video. Um, People have pointed out that the art gallery painting of like the Speak Now Taylor's version that they're
Mm-hmm.
stealing matches the art gallery she's in the Blank Space music video. And then one of Presley Cash's systems in the surveillance van has the numbers five. It's like written like a date, like 5/22/20, and the Harry's House album by Harry Styles was released on May 20th, 2022. So, one, this could simply be a nod to the fact that there are songs about him on the 1989 album. Could just be saying like another like, oh look, 1989's coming up. Um, or it could confirm the theory that he will be featured on Style.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably
Yeah.
likely. I think she hears people's requests.
Yes.
So,
I think this is like further justified by the rumors that are circulating that they are like currently in contact and trying to like find a time to meet up when he's back in this country, um from the Love on Tour. um People also think that that means maybe that they're rekindling.
mm-hmm.
And he wore purple on his July 7th concert.
Wow.
Our cutie.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I know. It's all everyone wants. I
Yeah.
would be, it would be fine. I'm not gonna lie though, like, the world would be an insufferable place to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know if I'm ready.
My world would be insufferable.
Uh,
So, yeah. Um, so we're gonna move on to claim to fame.
okay.
I have been thinking more about Chris's clue, and I have realized that unlike Shane's clue, I don't think it's like too like I don't think everything goes together.
Okay.
I think everything is separate. So I think that the pieces are like puppy love.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know what the t-shirt, the letter N, or the I mean. But then the Russian doll and the open door, I think it's supposed to be Darlin.
Okay.
Darlin.
Okay.
And then I think the 7Ts thing, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my speculations. But getting into this week's episode. So we start with Monet telling Jane a piece of the clue she's pulled. And Jane believes it is her clue because one of her relatives' first songs is called Puppy Love. Personally, I don't think that Monet would be telling you what it says if it was your clue, but whatever. And so Jane then confides in Chris, who is like, oh my god, I think that's my clue because my relative has a song called Puppy Love. And that's how Chris and Jane realize that they are brother and sister. I'm just kidding. They just both of their relatives happen to have a song with the same title, obviously. And so he tells Jane, like, I totally understand, but I think it might be my clue even. So this does not stop Jane. She confronts Monet, and Monet is like, I did not pull your clue.
But thank you for that information.
Yeah.
That you're worried.
Tell you what it says. They are like arguing back and forth about this. And Jane is like, I just don't believe her. Later, we see Jane manipulate Monet into telling her what the full clue says. She's like, can I see it? And Monet's like, I can tell you what it says right now. I got to memorize. So she tells her what it says. And then eventually, Jane is like, can you just show it to me so that I can, like, see the images? And Jane reads it as Hound Dog, Tennessee, for the TNI.
Okay.
Or she read it as TNC, Tennessee.
Okay.
Fools rush in, because she thinks the doll is a Russian.
That's not awful.
Yeah, it is a Russian nesting doll.
Okay.
He's not wrong. And 70s.
Hey, girl, me too.
Yeah. Which she believes to be signs of, 1, 2 Elvis songs, the state where Elvis lived, and the decade in which Elvis died. She's like, it's Elvis. Duh.
She doesn't...
So
okay. She doesn't fact check this or, like, talk to other people in the house and be like, do you think it's Elvis?
I don't know.
Well, it seems everyone in the house is, like, kind of working together, and they're not, like, picking anyone until they all feel like it is, but...
She's like, very, very confident.
Okay.
Which I can see how all of those things make sense.
Sure.
I can.
I feel like you would need, like, a little more to risk it all. But
I believe she is a mastermind.
It's great. It's great, Jane.
We'll see this theory come into play later. So going back to, like, the start of the episode, we also see Hugo telling Gabriel that he'd like for them to make a final 2, and that if they are to do that, they would need to share all of their theories. And Gabriel is like, I don't have to tell you who my relative is, though, right? And Hugo's like, obviously not, honey. No, you don't. But Hugo does tell him that he is 100... What?
Well, like, really? They don't want to tell each other?
I guess... Well, part of the discussion is, like, Hugo says, like, kind of something along the lines of, like, would you guess me if I told you? And Gabriel was like, if it's between you or me, I would.
That's true. So maybe it's more of just, like,
no.
Let's just not confirm to each other.
But Hugo does confirm to Gabriel that he is 100% positive that Chris's relative is Nicolas Cage.
Awesome.
I really don't know, like, they use the clue wall for so much, but I don't know how they're connecting it back to these specific people.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that, like, I really don't know.
I mean, I guess you can narrow down by race. Again, we don't really know. Like we talked about a couple episodes back, like, can
Yeah.
it be adoptive relatives? Like, we don't know. But I guess you could narrow it down by, like, this person looks like this person, or, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. So he points to, on the clue wall, there is a carton of cage-free eggs.
Ah.
Cage, obviously. That's what the eggs mean. And then there's also something that looks like one of the things from from the cover of National Treasure, and there's a Liberty Bell. To which I say, couldn't you be the Liberty Bell clue, Hugo?
Who's his?
Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. You could.
Liberty
For the
President? I don't know.
For the people on audio, my face said, yeah.
Obviously. But whatever. So Gabriel takes in this information. He's like, awesome. So then they go to the challenge for the week, and this week's challenge is a headshot challenge, is what they call it, which is like a dodgeball game, except they are launching paintballs to knock the other team's headshots out. So instead of hitting the actual people, they're trying to hit these beach balls with their faces on them. They are split up into teams, with the captains being the one who either earn immunity or jeopardy. And if they lose, the captain has to choose another teammate to join them in the bottom two.
Okay.
Gabriel and Shane are chosen as captains. Gabriel's pissed. So Gabriel and Shane are the captains. Gabriel's team loses. And he chooses to take Jane to the guest off with him. He says that he thinks he has a better chance of not being chosen against her, since he just got picked over her as the guesser the week before. He's like, they wouldn't do that again. So the losing team has some clues revealed about each of their relatives in the form of symbols added to their headshots. So they've got like their headshots, and they add little clip art on them that are supposed to be hints toward their relatives. Okay. I'm going to tell you what they are. And one of them, I figured out who their relative is. So when I get to that person, I will give you a heads up. You can skip ahead. Sorry, I didn't give you a heads up when I told you who Hugo's was.
You told us before.
So Gabriel's headshots, he is holding drumsticks, wearing a star on his chest, and wearing a propeller hat.
Okay.
Keep in mind, some of these I already know their relatives. I don't get that one.
I don't either.
Yeah. Monet is wearing a fedora and a chain with a lightning cloud next to her.
Okay.
I don't know who her relative is yet.
Okay.
Sammy knows. He's giving me some hints.
Why?
But I really can't figure it out.
Okay.
JR in his picture is wearing a pacifier and a chef hat. And he sees it and he's like, what in the heck? And this is the one I actually figured out.
Okay.
I was like, oh, he's an industry baby. So I had Sammy look it up. Skip ahead if you don't want to know. JR is Lil Nas X's brother.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was, I think, a nod to like maybe the panini chowder thing Lil Nas X does, and industry baby. Cute. Olivia is wearing an alien headband and New Year's Eve glasses with a red cross next to her.
Okay.
And Sammy told me that Olivia lied about her relative being a man.
Okay.
He said it is a woman, and she's obviously not very good at her job, because it is true that the best award she's won is a Razzie.
Oh. Nice.
So, last one is Jane. Jane has a parrot on her shoulder, an orchid in her hair, and a blue dog collar on her neck, which Carson interprets as a nod to Tootsie's Orchid Lounge in Nashville.
Genius.
I would never have figured that out. And a blue collar worker, which typically work from 9 to 5. complemented by the 1946 clue from last week and the wigs and sparkly boots on the clue wall, and she tells Chris that she believes Jane's relative is Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm.
Carson has not been really talking until this episode. She is a secret assassin.
Mm-hmm.
She did not come to play, and I love it.
Yeah, I think
Like,
I would
would
have
never have figured that out.
Yeah, I think I would have thought of Tootsie's, but only because we already thought her relative was Dolly Parton. I don't think I would have like just thought of that upon seeing an orchid.
Chris then tries to like tell this to other people, but he gets it very wrong. He gets the Tootsie's Orchid Lounge part right, but then he says like there's a music video where she's wearing a blue dog collar and she has a pet parrot. I was like, honey, where did you get that? What are you talking about? But anyway, as the winner of the challenge, Shane chooses Carson's clue. And I was very proud because I immediately figured out who her relative was from this. Carson's clue shows a like cup style trophy.
Okay.
An eraser, and then next to that it says -E.
Okay.
The same like unknown person symbol from Shane's clue, which is like the person's head with like a question mark in it. 2 record players, and the number 4 and a beer.
Okay.
So my first thought was, okay, racer, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Eraser minus the E is eraser. Someone who is a record holder.
Mm-hmm.
And probably has a Winston cup, and that races for beer because like they have sponsors, like sponsored by a beer company.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to hear Carson's person, skip ahead. Carson is the niece of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Nice.
Which also means that she's the granddaughter of Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Maya.
I don't know which one they're going
Shit.
for.
Can that get you?
Yeah, right? So, but the only thing is that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won a Winston Cup and once raced with Budweiser as his sponsor. His dad did not have that kind of sponsorship that means for beer. So I'm guessing they're thinking Junior.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the more famous one, I would guess.
Yeah.
But, and he's the only one that's for beer.
Okay.
So, proud of myself on that.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the episode, Jane and Gabriel were in the bottom 2 again. Jane was chosen as the guesser, and she very confidently guessed that Chris's relative was Elvis. We know it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was wrong. And her relative was revealed as Dolly Parton.
Woo!
And she went home. But first, Dolly did a video call to let her niece, Jada Starr, know how proud she was of her and how much she loved her. Which to me begs the question, is anyone else using a different name?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that changes the whole game for me as a viewer of, like, guessing who everyone is. And obviously it doesn't change the name for people in the house because they can't, like, look it up like I can. But, like, that really threw me for a loop. Jane confirms that Dolly Parton is the queen and angel we all believe she is. And Kevin Jonas was like, I've met your aunt. She is an amazing woman. Jane is like crying. She's like, when it was revealed that Chris was not the relative of Elvis, she started crying and she was like, it's okay because now I get to tell y'all how much I love this person. Like how important they are to me. And, like, how amazing they are. And then they revealed it was Dolly Parton, and she was like, Jada Starr, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. And then she tells them that Dolly named her.
Aww.
I know.
Cute.
So cute. So that is the end of that episode. I was, like, kind of sad to see Jane go home because she was, like, really, like we said, like, she was, like, Big Brother material, like really masterminding it, but like it was so sweet. Like I love kind of watching them go home because it's so sweet to watch them get like a message from their relative and like get to talk about how amazing they are and like it's just cute.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Yeah, Sammy, he has looked up, he knows everyone's relative now.
Okay.
Because he Googled them. But so I just, like, every time I walk past him, I'm like, is this Monet's dad? Is this Monet's dad? And he's like, oh my god, no. Yeah, I can't get it. I can't figure it out.
I would just make him tell me.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I want to figure it out. I want to solve the puzzle. So, moving into Below Deck Sailing Yacht. Daisy confirmed via Instagram that there will be a reunion. She posts like a picture in her reunion dress afterwards and is like, I guess there will be. And puts in her caption that she is very excited to put all of this behind her.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting into the episode though. Now, I don't normally talk about the guests, but I have to this time because, oh my god, like, this is where the drama came from this episode, and these guests sucked ass. So, starting with the preference sheet meeting, this is not what makes them suck ass, to clarify. Okay. I'm not judging them. I am not kink shaming. But Glenn announces that there will be a throuple on this charter. And then he's like, what does that mean? And Gary tells him that 2 of them are married, but they also have a boyfriend as a, quote, garnish on top of their relationship. To which Daisy asks if Gary is going to be her and Colin's garnish. And at this point, I'm like, Daisy.
Salt in the wound, mama.
Yeah. I love you so much. And I can appreciate that this is hard for you, but you are not making it any easier. Honey. So, now I'm going to get into why these guests sucked. And I hope they did not get their deposit back. So, it's a group. The primaries are a gay couple.
Okay.
They bring... everyone's gay except for one woman that's on the trip. So it's a gay couple, their friend, the throuple, and one member of the throuple's mom.
Okay.
So, the member of the throuple whose mom is on the boat is Ray.
Okay.
Ray is picking fights with literally everyone. And at one point, he gets into a very heated argument with one of the primaries. This is the second argument that he had gotten in with them, and after the first one, Lucy was like, I'm a little worried because, like, I was trying to bring them their towels, and I really couldn't get in the room because they were fighting. But they get into a heated argument at dinner, and the couple, the primaries, go to their room, and Ray follows them to their bedroom from dinner. Lucy, since she's, like, waiting on them, she tells Glenn that she's worried about how things are escalating because he just, like, followed them to their bedroom. So Glenn, who I would like to point out has to be, like, 5'2".
Okay.
And these are, like, the most alpha, like, jock gay men you've ever seen in your life. They're huge. And, except for one who's kind of small. But the other ones are, like, they're jacked. So, it's kind of funny to watch because Glenn is, like, yelling in his face, but he's, like, looking up at him, like... But, so, Glenn goes down to the cabin, and he pulls them out of the room, and he tells Ray that if he sees him get aggro at any point, the charter will end. He uses the word aggro at least 5 times. Then we flash back to the dinner. Brad, who is Ray's husband, is confiding in Ray's mom that if he were to ask for a divorce, Ray would take him for all he has.
Yikes.
And she's, like, hugging him. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, she, like, I don't know, like, that's your son. And so the fact that she was like, yeah, he sucks.
He probably would.
Yeah. He's greedy like that. There's more just, like, petty drama, but the last thing I have about this group is they have an ABC party on the last night, which is, like, anything but clothes, which we don't see a lot of because while this is happening, we are watching, and all of the crew is also doing not clothes for this night. So while we're watching this, while that is happening, we are watching Lucy have to clean the throuple's cabin wearing a trash bag. So she's not comfortable.
Mm-mm.
And she is like crying because this room is so fucking gross. Their beds are covered in trash. At one point, she puts all of the trash on like a piece of cardboard or something to make it easier to transport, and it took up one entire bed.
Ew.
A lot of it was like used condoms, like food wrappers. It was disgusting. They have puked in the sink, which doesn't flush, so she has to like hand clean it out.
Why does it not flush?
And it looks like they have not flushed the toilet since she cleaned their room the night before.
Yikes.
Like, water level is high. There's all types of sewage in there.
Yeah.
She has to flush the toilet for them.
That's probably why they had to puke in the sink.
Yeah. Then they give them probably the lowest tip we've seen this season.
Yikes.
Yeah. So that's why I had to mention the guests, because I'm not kink shaming them, but I am shaming them for every other behavior.
Gross.
So now let's get into the love pentagon, because it's coming to an end. This was the last 2 episodes of the season before reunion.
Okay.
So at the top of the episode, we see Mads jokingly tell Alex she's on her period after he asks her why she's bloated.
Rude.
Yeah, why are you asking her that? But then she very clearly says, just kidding. But he tells Colin for some reason.
Which, like, why?
Yeah, I don't know why he's asking why she's bloated. I don't know why he's running and telling Colin the answer.
Well,
I don't get it.
Why? Like, why are people interested? Like, hey,
I
she's on her period. Like, she has to have done that.
Into why Colin is interested.
Well, sure. But why is Alex thinking, like, I should go tell people this?
I don't know. I really don't know why it got brought up. But whatever. So Gary is then telling Colin. Got a little Memphis there. That he went down on Mads, and Colin is like, oh my god, that's so crazy because Alex just told me she's on her period. And Gary blows a freaking fuse.
Which I think should be more of a question from Colin, like, whoa, that's interesting, because Alex said she was on her period, was she? And Gary should feel confident that she was not.
Shouldn't he? So he pulls Mads and for some reason Lucy aside and asks about this, and Mads, like you said, is like, wouldn't you have noticed? Because duh. And he tells her that it should be a common courtesy to just tell him if she's on her period before he goes down on her. And she's like, okay, but as I have just stated, you would have noticed, so I obviously fucking wasn't.
Yeah.
Weirdo. So then Gary's like embarrassed.
Sad.
So he confronts Alex and is like, you made me look stupid, and he accuses him of making up that Mads was on her period to cause a rift between them. Which would be like so big brain to like plant that seed with Colin so that Colin can then tell Gary. Like, that's so crazy. And Alex, he like actually genuinely feels really bad about this whole thing, and he's like, it was a misunderstanding, like and he's like, this is why I thought that, but I guess I like didn't realize it was a joke, and like I'm sorry that it caused a rift between y'all, but like that wasn't my intention. But Gary still makes the remainder of the charter miserable for both Alex and Chase. At one point, Daisy notices that Gary is sulking and asks him if he's okay, and then he's like, tells her it's about Mads, and she asks if he really wants to be with her. Like, they're just shooting the shit, talking. He's like, Mads is pissing me off. She's like, well, do you want to be with her? I don't know. He immediately runs and tells Colin that Daisy is playing with him by asking him if he likes Mads, and they're both like, that's so confusing. So Colin asks Daisy, and she's like, I asked him this once because he was upset, and it was like organically brought up in our conversation about why he was upset. I didn't like go out of my way to talk about their situationship.
Mm-hmm.
So then she tells Colin that she doesn't know if she can continue to be friends with Gary if he can't respect what they need to grow their relationship.
Yeah. But Colin
I
also is
agree.
seeming a little fragile.
Oh, he's very fragile.
So, like, maybe also don't grow that relationship.
Yeah. I think all of them separately are cool people.
Gary sucks.
But they have gotten, yeah, except Gary. But they've gotten into a situation where none of them are thriving.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not good.
Yeah.
So, before the crew night out, Gary asks Mads where they stand now that the season is over, and he tells her that he has real feelings for her. And she basically tells him that she does not feel the same way, and reminds him that she has told him this several times.
Mm-hmm.
During their dinner and drinks, Mads and Alex are very flirty. They're holding hands, and then they make out in the taxi back to the boat, which this visual was so great because we have one taxi where in the back seat, Mads and Alex are making out the entire ride back, and then the other taxi where Gary is alone in the back seat with at least 20 bottles of beer next to him.
Empty?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because they also had some in the other taxi, just not as many. And so I was like, did they, like, take them home?
Yeah.
Or something? I don't know. But they were, like, not in packs. They're just loose. So, where was I? Oh. So they're making out in the taxi, and Mads comments that she has been waiting on Alex to make a move, and he says that if he had put more effort in earlier, Gary would not have gotten laid this season.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. He didn't say that to her.
Yeah.
Anyway, when they get back, Gary goes straight to bed. Not because he's like mad about it, because he doesn't know what happened in the taxi. He's old. He goes to bed.
Sleepy.
Mads then comes to confess the makeout to Gary because since he was in the other van, she doesn't want him to hear it from anyone else, and he does not take this well in any way, shape, or form. He tells her to get out. She tries to continue discussing it with him, and he grabs her, opens the door, physically pushes her out of the room, and then slams the door in her face, and then says through the door that he never wants to see her again.
Mm.
If that does not get him fired from Bravo,
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose my fucking mind.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I at the very least want to hear Andy Cohen get on to him for it.
Yeah.
So, the next morning, Gary is like asking Colin, he's like, why did they have to treat me like this on our last night with Mads? And Colin tells him to consider that it is also Alex's last night with Mads.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe they want to take advantage of it. Mads also admits in her interview that she didn't try to break things off earlier in the season because she thought he would react this way and she didn't want it to make working with him harder.
Yeah.
Then Alex, which, like, other than, like, asking her if she was bloated, Alex is, like, truly such a badass. He says, I don't think I'm gonna miss Mads because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see a lot more of her after this.
Cute.
Yes, King. I love it. And lastly, before they exit the boat, Daisy and Colin discuss their future together. At first, it sounds like they're going to break up, but ultimately they decide to casually pursue their relationship, taking into consideration that part of that time will be long distance, but they also discuss Daisy coming onto the boat that Colin is the captain of and spending time there. And Colin also says that he would like to take a break from his friendship with Gary and, like, evaluate how meaningful it is to have Gary in his life. Like, does this person serve me? And I think that's great. And I think the answer will be no.
Yeah.
He doesn't. So, I don't know if they're, because it seems like they just filmed the reunion, so I don't know if it's already gonna be this Monday or if it'll be like later on.
Okay.
But that was the end of the season. Moving on to The Bachelorette.
Mm-hmm.
On this week's episode, there are 14 minutes in the house to start.
Isn't that, like, really fast that we're already down to 14?
Yeah, but they only started with 25.
Oh, right.
And by the end of this episode, we have 11.
Yeah.
So, Charity comes into the mansion and announces that they will be heading to San Diego for the next leg of the journey. Woohoo!
She's like, we're gonna get out of here. And then I was like,
yeah. She like comes in really ominous. She's like, there's something I need to discuss with you guys. She's like, I don't think I can continue this journey in Los Angeles. We're going to San Diego. So then Brayden gets a one-on-one in which he gets to travel by helicopter to the new destination, whereas the other men have to travel by bus.
Mm-hmm.
Charity admits that she is still upset about learning that Brayden was thinking of leaving. It, like, hurts her feelings. And it seems like she wants to take this time with him to kind of get a clearer picture of what he really said.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what Adrian told her and what Brayden told her, she's still confused. She wants to know the truth, which she's not going to get from Brayden, obviously.
No.
Brayden also takes his time to be super petty and talk about how miserable the other men must be on the bus.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And he's like so lucky he gets to be in a helicopter. He's like flipping them off. They're like flipping him off. Like,
yeah.
Charity's just sitting there like.
He's like leaning out of the helicopter and he's like, that's so cruel that that's the mansion right there. And like, I'm like, have you ever seen this show, dude?
Yeah. And Charity's like, oh my god, I didn't mean to be cruel. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. They land in Petco Park, home of the San Diego Padres, which Brayden is a huge fan of. Okay? Great. Charity knows this, and so she's very excited that he's the one that got this date. That's why she picked him, because he's from San Diego. They get matching jerseys that say Mr. and Mrs. Lawson, which I can only imagine is a huge sting to the other men watching it back. But also, if any of those men were going to take Charity's last name, wouldn't it be Brayden?
No. I think Brayden gives the vibes that he would, and then when it comes down to it, no.
Yeah, he would say he would, and then he'd be like, wait, what?
No.
I think my favorite part of the episode was Charity, like, holding his earrings and being like, I love your earrings. Like, where did you get them?
May I borrow?
Yeah. So, then Brayden tells Charity a story about how one time he and his dad were playing catch and his dad broke his nose. And then he immediately hit Charity in the face with a baseball.
Huh.
The universe was like...
He's like, I want us to have a shared experience!
She's fine. It hurt, but she was like, I'm okay. Then they have a picnic at the park, and they talk more about Brayden's concerns. But as we've seen of Brayden in a one-on-one situation, like, he can turn it around. Like, that's the thing, is that, like, he's shady as hell with the men, but Charity obviously doesn't see it. And he, like, gives her a little kernel of the truth, so that when she talks to the other men about it, it just seems like a misunderstanding.
Right.
And so she still has a great time. She feels a lot more confident. He also tells her that he has been cheated on, which is his way of, like, explaining why he's been insecure. Then, this is so weird to me, he writes, "You're worth trying for," on a baseball and gives it to Charity. And she's, like, gushing, and she gives him a rose. And I was like, trying?
That is the barest minimum.
Yeah, well, especially because it was in response to her saying, like, I know this is hard for you, but I want someone who's going to fight for me. And so, like, I know this is, like, not ideal for how to meet your life partner, but the one thing that the benefit is of this situation is that there are all these other men. You have to fight for me, and I want to see it. And he's like, I'll try for you.
That's the
Like, okay,
same.
Rick.
Not the same thing.
Not what I asked for.
No.
Then we see Aaron B, Michael, James, Caleb, Aaron S, Sean, Xavier, Tanner, Adrian, Dotton, and John go on a group date sponsored by the Barbie movie and hosted by JoJo and Jordan.
Yes.
The men have to dress as different iconic versions of Ken and write a song for charity to the tune of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. John is birthday suit Ken. So he's wearing a tan morph suit.
Fun.
And has a hard plastic yellow wig.
Cute.
So uncomfortable. He said at one point, this morning I woke up with male genitalia and now I don't have any.
That's true. As Ken.
Yeah. Caleb is cowboy Ken, which I thought made sense until he called a lasso a whip.
Okay.
This is a lasso.
Yeah. A cowboy should
Tanner,
know that, sir.
Yeah. Tanner is ice skater Ken. Xavier is sugar daddy Ken, which is a real doll that existed.
Oh.
Dotton is astronaut Ken. Sean is double denim Ken. Aaron B is merman Ken. Michael is bad boy Ken. James is 80s prom Ken. Aaron S is glitter beach Ken. And Adrian is classic Ken.
Okay.
So, in the competition, Caleb is belting his little heart out. Everyone is so impressed. He's like, I can fucking sing. And everyone's like, holy shit, this man can sing. Which makes Sean very nervous because he cannot sing. So when he gets on stage, he fully just brings the passion. He sucks ass. He's a very bad singer. But he was dancing, he was jumping, he was like,
cute.
The crowd was so hyped for him, which I actually really liked because I feel like those dates are always so nerve-wracking, and there's always someone who like thrives on that kind of date. Like I think about like Chris Soul's season, Carly Waddell was on that date, and she is a musician, like that is her job, and so she did really well. And then there's people also on the date who are like, this is not my forte. So I was like, great, like that's so good that he was able to turn that around. But he lost me when he earned the extra one-on-one time before the end of the date, and it like immediately went to his head.
Yep.
He even tells Charity on their one-on-one time that he looks just like a Ken doll.
Oh. Well.
He's like, I'm great for this. So we also get to see on this date Aaron S, who I would like to rescind my apology to, lose his mind over Sean getting extra time, which like is so silly to me because it wasn't like she picked him for the end of the show. Like she wasn't like, oh my god, this is my fucking man. Like she just said that he like tried the hardest at the competition. And like he showed a great effort, and so like I think he, out of all of them, he should have won that. He was right. But Aaron S says, quote, if you want a pretty boy, go chase after Sean. But look at me. I'm a fucking man. He'll take you shopping, country clubs, and wine and dine. But if you want a real life man who knows how to camp, fish, hunt, water ski, wakeboard, all that stuff, then yeah, hit me up. Do you know which one of those I would personally pick?
Yeah, I don't want a real life man.
I would love a man who just takes me shopping and to country clubs and wines and dines me.
Yeah.
Like you're describing a dream. Yeah.
Aaron S knows nothing about women.
Stupid head. He's been around on this planet for 43 years and he's learned nothing. So at the after party though, Sean comes in singing his song from the competition, truly just giving off on top of the world energy. He's so happy. And Aaron S's toxic masculinity cannot fit in the room anymore. So he has to comment. He says that Sean is acting like an only child and that he needs a slice of humble pie.
Okay.
Which I don't disagree with. But after the other comment, I'm like,
fuck off,
okay,
Aaron S.
Yeah. When Charity arrives, Sean immediately pulls her, which is not a good move.
No.
After he just got this whole one-on-one time. But I will say, I kind of wonder how much of that is because Aaron S just jumped down his throat. Yeah. About, like, just like acting so like, I don't know. I feel like part of it was like he was pressed and he was like, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Charity, can I talk to you? Like, I feel like I would have been petty too. But I don't know. So Sean comes back and the men are pissed. They are so mad at him. Adrian says that he is not allowed to sit on the couch with them anymore.
Adrian?
Yeah, he said, we all took a vote while you were gone and you can't sit on the couch anymore.
Where's he supposed to sit?
He just didn't sit by Adrian. He went and sat on a different couch with John. James points out that he hasn't spoken to Charity since the week before and he thinks he'll go home. So like they're just like pointing out to him like that was kind of shitty. Toward the end on the one-on-one time on the after party, Charity brings Dot into her room so they can have more privacy. Heart eyes. He makes her cry. He tells her that she makes him feel. He was like when she said that, he's like, really? He's like, that makes me feel so special. Like, thank you. Like, he was so excited
just to get the private time.
Yes, to get to go to her room. So he tells her that she makes him feel special. She's very competent and she's his ideal woman. And she's like crying. She loves it.
That's cute.
So he gets the group date rose, obviously.
Yeah.
Warwick gets the next one-on-one where they have a rented out amusement park to frolic in. Charity admits that she wants to go on this date because she hasn't talked to Warwick a lot, but she thinks he's cute, obviously. We quickly learn, however, that Warwick is just a sleepy baby. Charity is trying so hard to vibe with him. At the beginning in her interview, she's like, we're having a great time. He's just like so quiet. And at the end, she's like, get this man the fuck out of here. But he's super quiet. He tells producers that amusement parks make him tired.
That's fair.
And he lets out a big yawn. So she's disappointed that he doesn't offer to scoop her ice cream. She's like, he couldn't even scoop my ice cream for me. Which at first I was like, why does he have to scoop your ice cream for you?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about how when I was in a sorority, we used to volunteer at Ben and Jerry's for free scoop day. And by the last year I was in a sorority, I told the person who was in charge that if she made me do that, I would have a panic attack and I would like be mad at her forever because which I know is just like one scoop, but like it's a lot of work and you get dirty and she's wearing this like sparkly gown and this like fur coat. Like, I don't know. I was like, I get it.
Yeah. I used to work at an ice cream shop. It's not that
but
hard.
You had like, you didn't scoop.
No, it was probably harder.
The problem I had was that you had to scoop this way and I would get it all over my clothes and then I'd be really sticky. Which is like what she had. She is trying to dig deep at their dinner or at their ice cream part. He is not giving her any meaningful information.
Wait, does he scoop his own ice cream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he scoops his ice cream, she scoops her ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah. And he even admits that communication is one of his weaknesses. She like tries to ask him at one point, she's like, give me some information about like past relationships. He's like, I've had 2 past relationships. And she's like, what happened? How did they end? And he was like, we just broke up. And she's like, why? And he was like, we just decided. Like he was giving her nothing. So she sends him home and he immediately falls asleep in the car. They're like trying to ask him a question and he was like, he said like it would have just been a waste of time if he had stayed because like he's not her person and then he like immediately falls asleep.
Poor sleepy boy.
I know. Sweet Warwick. So cut to the end of the episode. They are preparing for the cocktail party and the rose ceremony, and Braden comes in hot, telling everyone who will listen to him that he doesn't know if he feels as comfortable getting engaged to Charity at the end of the show as he would just dating her after the show. Which, like, why are you constantly saying this shit to the other men? Yeah. Like, that is a bad idea. Yeah. Like, just, like, if you feel that way, write it down. Tell a producer. Tell Charity.
Yeah.
Stop telling them.
Yeah.
It's not helping you. Everyone has tattled on you.
Yeah. Well, my big advice to Brayden is just to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Stop talking.
It's clearly not helping. So at the cocktail party, the men are pulling out all the stops for their conversations, but most importantly, Xavier gives her a scarf that he knitted for her.
Cutie.
I would die for Xavier and Dotton. They are so freaking cute. So then Aaron B tells Charity exactly what Brayden said to the men earlier that night, or that day, and she's like annoyed. Aaron B then tells Brayden that he told Charity because he's like, I'm not ashamed. And Brayden is mad because he says, like, I've been as transparent with her as possible, which translates to, I've told her the parts of this that won't get me in trouble with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then proceeds to, like, scream at Aaron B via his interview. He, like, says he threatens to go all Will Smith on him and smack him and tell him to keep his name out his mouth. And, like, he's, like, just losing his mind. He's like laughing the whole time. Like, I think he thinks it's funny, but like he's like pissed.
Yeah.
So then Charity pulls Brayden aside and basically is like, why are you pretending like you don't know how this works?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the premise of the show is that
we get engaged.
Date all these men and then I get engaged to someone. So why are you telling the other men that you can't get engaged to me after I've just dated all your friends? That's how it works. And he's like, well, yeah, I knew how it works, but that doesn't mean it's easy. And then he's like, I'm just trying to like be real. Like, I think I'm the realest one here for admitting to that. But she's still mad at him. She says that she is considering taking his rose away. Jesse Palmer is like, are you serious? And she's like, yes. But she doesn't take his rose away. And she sends home James, who has been telling us for the whole episode that he's worried he's going to go home. Adrian and Aaron S. Thank God. Sad about Adrian because he was in my season lineup. But also like happy about James because James's ex-girlfriend has been exposing him on TikTok, and he sucks.
Yeah.
So
I gotta look because Warwick was in my episode lineup and he's out. My season lineup is not doing well.
Look at
Whoa, I had James and I had Caleb A, who earned me a whopping 0 points before being sent home.
The only one I have that's
gone
is Adrian, because I have John, Aaron B, Brayden, and Caleb B.
Yeah, Warwick went home for my episode lineup, so that cost me, but then...
Oh, yeah. Worth mentioning, of course, Sammy kicked our asses in fantasy. He was living for it. He was so happy. He wouldn't shut up. Let's see how he did.
We should have let
Sammy got...
pick Spencer last time.
Sammy got 106 points. And you and I both tied for second with 52 points.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was killing it. He was so happy.
So sad.
Yeah. To lose to Sam.
All right.
So, that's all I've got.
Yep. And we'll be back
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
We'll be back with less fun stuff on Friday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Next time on The Housewife Did It, Katie will tell us our first serial killer story about Dorothea Puente and the bodies found in her backyard.
Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Housewife Did It Pod. Housewife singular.